Yeah, I like the Texas layout over there. It seems safe. Everything is fucking outlandishly cheap.
Right.
Like, real estate's cheap. The girls are hot.
Yeah.
It seems like cool people generally move there.
Well, people just like they wear cowboy boots everywhere.
Yeah,
What is that? That doesn't happen in LA so much. But I guess that's like a big thing in fashion now in general. Like women are just wearing a lot of cowboy boots now.
As a guy who I just recently did a video where I had to wear cowboy boots, so I am a proud new cowboy boot owner.
But they suck. Do they suck to wear?
Just if you wear, my hometown is a place infested by guys with cowboy boots, and if you
Sacramento.
Yeah.
A lot of cowboy boots there. That's not really the vibe I get from watching Swamp Stories.
Listen, Sacramento is a big place. I know most of the dudes who work in your office from Sacramento are wearing like flat-billed New Era caps and they have like pencil-y thin mustaches.
Trev.
Yeah, Trevor, like, what's up, dog? I'm from fucking Sacramento, fool. Like, I am from the place where if people suspect you like dick, they'll kick you in the ribs with their cowboy boots.
Really?
That's where I'm from. Like,
so that's why you've been holding it in all these years.
Fucking gay people. No, I am not a homophobe like the rest of the people from my country, but there are a lot up there.
I want you to search Swamp Stories Sacramento and watch a couple of these documentaries about the gang violence in Sacramento, and then I want you to come on this podcast and let's see if you can make good jokes about all this gang death. Or you could just sort of revel in the horror of it and not try to make jokes about it. But
do you think
wouldn't really be suited for this podcast?
Are the gangsters up in Sacramento, are they like snowflakes in that will they come find me if they hear that I'm talking shit about their gang violence on SledgeLords?
Listen, maybe if you were to be like, this dude is a pussy and a snitch and he's, never done any work in the streets, then maybe, they would actually maybe hunt you down and kill you. Yeah, but for the most part, no. And what specific criticisms are you going to have of their gangbanging?
Well, I think a Little Diesel is a pussy and a snitch.
Little Diesel.
And I think Jay Snoop is a closet fairy. And I think that kind of stuff, if I just went one by one and told all those guys those things, it wouldn't work out for me.
Well, I mean, are they going to really go out of their way to kill you? I don't know, because it's like Crip Mac was dissing other gangs in L.A., like the city he lives in, like over and over and over for years on his social media, and he's still walking the earth, so...
So what is going on? Because I've heard about this, and our friend Lush on 2 weeks ago's Tuesday episode, he was introducing me to the concept of drill music, which I'm sure you know everything there is to know about.
Right.
But it sounds like the same reason or the same process by which you can talk a young Japanese boy into putting on a headband with a sun on it, getting in a plane and flying into an American warship. It seems like that same process is being used in Sacramento to indoctrinate younger members of a gang to go kill a guy because he said something mean into a microphone and put it on TikTok.
That's not far from the truth. Yeah, once you really like start to, all the gang rappers, they make being a gang member seem pretty cool and everything. They don't really make it sound as depressing as it, I think, oftentimes actually is. But for sure, there's a lot of that, of like, basically just like hyping up young kids to go shoot at people.
And it's just they're too young and naive to know that there's more to life, huh?
Yeah, I mean, listen, like gangbanging takes many forms. There are like relatively flaccid versions of it where, and especially once dudes get to a certain age, obviously the vast majority of them just chill out. My definition is 4 guys, 1 girl's a gangbang. That's my definition. Right, yeah, definitely. No, as long as you're wearing a condom and your dick doesn't directly touch the other guys, yeah.
So what you're saying, though, is that gangbanging, there's like a danger zone of until you reach 30, that's when you're committing the work. That's when you're doing the dumbest shit.
It's just that there are a lot of hoods that are basically like not beefing with anyone. So like they might be involved in some crimes in the sense of like, robbing people or like selling drugs or something like that. But the gang is not really like doing all this gnarly shit. But then there are other gangs and like hoods that basically have wars that have, in some cases, have been going on for like long periods of time. And sometimes I'll talk to gang members or former gang members, whatever, on the podcast, and they'll basically describe there being a point in their life where they would wake up every day and go shoot at their enemies.
Just at them.
And you hear people talk about that in like the 90s more commonly, I think. But like, no, for sure, there's been like a bunch of people, like a lot of people who've been on this podcast who that was a period of time in their life. But when you think about it too, it's like a lot of those dudes kind of do that for a period of time, get the stripes from that. Everybody knows them as a savage. If they fucking get away with it, then they're able to sort of carry that reputation and that clout with them throughout the rest of their life. But then obviously the vast majority probably get caught and end up doing 20 years in prison.
Yeah, and even if you are the hardcore grizzled gangbanger, I mean, what really is there in it for you?
The reputation. But if you grow up in that neighborhood or in that world, that kind of like, you can understand how if you're sort of indoctrinated into that you think that is kind of the only way to become a man.
Yeah,
and it's really scary when you like really learn more about it. You know,
it's fucked up. I don't get it, because like the hottest chicks that live in the suburbs of Stockton, not even whatever the ghetto part of Stockton is.
Are there hot chicks in the suburbs of Stockton?
No, like,
I would love to see these.
And that's what I'm getting at. Is it doesn't seem like being a big fish in the small pond of Stockton, if it means getting shot at, is worth having access to the best 4 or 5 that lives in your hood. Because like the chicks are ugly, the house you're living in is shitty, even if you're the most OG gangster that Stockton has to offer.
Right.
Like what fucking, work your way up through H&R Block, become a senior accountant.
That's great advice.
That's what you should. That's what all these gangbangers should do. You know, you should bring me onto these shows you're having when you're talking to these guys.
Right. Yeah. No, that could definitely help. No, you know, the biggest part of it though is just that they're like avenging murders that have been done to their friends or family members.
That's tough.
That's how it doesn't stop. And that's the reason why when you talk to people about like a peace treaty, which you would think that like everybody would kind of be able to agree that a peace treaty would be a good thing or whatever, and like that's the thing that keeps that from being even an option to a lot of people, is basically like no, like they killed my brother like a year ago, or like, you know, a couple years ago, or like my dad died because an enemy shot him in the head. Dude, it's like how do you get past that? And as an outsider, putting yourself in those shoes, I think is like important, because it's hard for me to imagine. You know, somebody shot my dad in the head. There's a guy. What am I going to do?
We met a guy on the subject of revenge who he was on the plane with us, flying from LA up to Sacramento to film a video. He's wearing a Purple Heart hat, which, even though he was a veteran and he was wounded, still a little bit douchey. Okay, wearing the Purple Heart thing, because you're fishing for compliments. But that aside, this guy, he told us that a sniper shot him when he was in Iraq. Put a bullet just in and out through the side of his body, through the fleshy part of his torso. Ugh. Didn't stay in there, didn't kill him, but he didn't know that at first, of course. And he was down on the ground and he was terrified. And he told me this story, and he told me about many of his friends who got shot and actually died. And I asked him, I was like, dude, I don't know if I could ever be at peace again if I knew that the sniper who shot me and my friends was still roaming the streets of Ramadi, was still living his life over in the Middle East without having paid for it. And the guy's like, oh no, he paid for it. My buddies went in and cleared the room he was in, and they bayoneted him like 15 times. Whoa. And I just thought, fuck yeah. Like, that is the best.
Yeah.
And what you're saying about these kids who had their best friend or their fucking cousin murdered, I get that they couldn't let that go.
Yeah.
I completely get that.
No, yeah, but then also at the same time, when you like really hear like, you know, 50-year-old gang members or whatever who go on Vlad, and they'll kind of say like, I could see the dude who shot me right now and I wouldn't do anything. I wouldn't give a fuck, because at a certain point, they just kind of accept like, I was in that lifestyle.
Yeah.
They were acting. I would have done the same thing to him if I had gotten the chance. You know, that's just like how it is. Like, people do just get past it. But for sure, the fact that they can't give up the lust for vengeance, that's like a huge part of it. This has been a clip from my new podcast, SledgeLords with Danny Mullen. We're dropping a new episode every week. So either hit the link in the description or search up the Adam22 channel on YouTube. Appreciate you guys.